The scenery outside reminds me of my pride, reminds me of my will. At the windowsill, I sit and see the grays, the children they all play and laugh amongst themselves. Somehow remind me of myself on the merry-go-round.
What's going on YouTube? It is Trev. So I've been diving into this SEC versus Ripple thing a little bit, trying to get a little deeper into it because I really haven't had time to really study it, right? But today I had a little time on my hands and I'm reading a bunch of different articles and trying to kind of get a grip. Now I had the basics, or at least what I thought were the basics, right? And that was that the SEC alleges that Ripple is selling securities, right? XRP is a security, and that violates, they didn't register it, right? And they're supposed to, if it's a security, they're supposed to register it with the SEC. Well, Ripple says XRP is not a security, and they had no need to register it, and, here we go with the lawsuit, right? So everything that I've been seeing online, on Twitter, even in YouTube, is, this case is going to determine whether or not XRP is a security. And if it determines that it's not a security, that means all these other things aren't securities either. It'll establish law, blah, 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 right? That's not what I'm seeing. I'm not a legal expert, and it's quite likely that I'm not even as smart as I think I am, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. Leave comments in the comment section. This is what I'm seeing. This case is not about whether or not XRP is a security. This case does not seek to define that, right? This case is whether or not Ripple sold XRP as a security. There's a nuance. There's a difference, right? So SEC is saying, well, by providing utility and finding things for XRP basically to be used for, Ripple fully intended this to be bought as an investment, right? And XRP again obviously is saying no, that's not the case at all, right? So as I'm kind of scrolling through some things here, I'm seeing this, the judge in the case is Judge Analisa Torres. She has stated basically that this is what she needs to decide. This is what she said. This is what she's deciding. Did Ripple sell XRP as a security? That's what she's deciding. That's what she's going to rule on. Okay. And again, there's a difference, right? So the difference I can hear it in my head, but I'm going to try to articulate to you what I'm seeing, right? There was the former chair of the SEC, I believe his name was Hinman. In 2018, he put out he did a speech, right? Whatever he was going on about, I don't know, right? But I guess he was just spouting out at the mouth and just kind of letting all the information fly as he saw it. I'm not sure where the speech was or who it was to. But in this speech, he clearly says, and it's all documented, right? Maybe recorded or whatever. But in this speech, he clearly says, he names Bitcoin and Ethereum and clearly says they are not securities, right? At the time, right, 2018, at the time it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, right? Size-wise or whatever, right? I mean, that's pretty much the way it went. Now, he didn't mention Ripple specifically, but, Ripple is saying basically, Ethereum, Ripple, ETH, XRP, it's the same thing, right? So The case revolves around the ambiguity in the existing regulation or the definition of what a security is, right? And Ripple attests or suggests that there's, like, as I said, there's ambiguity. It's not clear cut, the definition. It's very, very confusing. Whereas it may be more clear cut in Europe or in other places, it's not so in the US, right? And they wanted to point to not only the fact that it's not clear, right? They also wanted to bolster that point by bringing in this speech by the former chair of the SEC, who said these things are not securities. Now, obviously, Gary Gensler, current SEC, they wanted to stop that from coming in, right? They didn't. That's damning to their case, right? Because the case is XRP a security? The case is, did they knowingly sell it as a security and not register it, right? I hope you're getting the difference, okay? They wanted to seal that speech. They didn't want it to be used as evidence or come into this case whatsoever, obviously, right? Well, the Judge Torres, ruled against them. And she actually stated something to the effect of, matter of fact, maybe I have it. Okay. The judge noted that they are vital judicial documents portraying a strong presumption of public access, right? Referring to these documents pertaining to this speech by Hinman. Also, in her ruling, Judge Torres stated the Hinman speech documents would reasonably tend to influence ruling on a motion. So the whole thing about it being a strong presumption of public access, I'm not sure what that means. Maybe some of you understand this better than I do, and maybe you can clarify it for me. I'm thinking it means one of two things. It either means that even if they seal it, there's a presumption of public access. The public already knows about this. They have access to it. They it's out there, right? There's probably copies. There's whatever of it. So even if they seal it, there's still going to be access to it in the public. So what's the point of sealing it, right? That's A. That might be what it means. The other thing that I think it might mean is, because this is so accessible, this speech, and because most people, or definitely anybody in this case, would have heard this speech, read this speech, whatever, right? They very well could be getting part of the definition of what a security is from this definition, or from this reference that Hinman made to Bitcoin and Ethereum not being securities, right? That's out there, and it's out there. It was out there basically for Ripple to have access to. So it does feed into and speak to their narrative that what the SEC is trying to say is a security. It contains ambiguity. It's not really clear cut, right? Because the former chair of the SEC disagrees with what you're saying right now, and nothing has been rewritten, right? So it either means that or it means that. Either way, she allowed it in. And so this is a big reason why that I'm finding people are saying that was a huge step for Ripple. And Ripple probably has this lawsuit in the bag, because it is not about whether XRP is a security. It's about whether Ripple sold XRP knowing that it was a security and did not register it with the SEC as current regulations would require, right? So, yeah, under those terms, I clearly see why people say this is very, very much in Ripple's favor right now, right? It's totally when she allowed that speech in, who can argue with that? You got one chair saying one thing, but you got the former chair saying something else. So if there's no clarity up until now, why would Ripple know, right? And if they didn't know, then it's ruled in their favor, right? Okay, sounds great. Here's the other thing I want to point out. So I've been looking into this attorney Torres a little bit, right? Seems that she was appointed by Barack Obama. Now, I have not, and maybe I could have looked a little deeper. I have not been able to find out exactly what her political affiliation is. I'm going to assume, I'm making an assumption. I think it's a safe assumption. I'm going to assume that if she was appointed by Barack Obama, that she is a Democrat. Democrats have not historically been very crypto friendly, right? Particularly not this administration. And other Democrats haven't really said anything great about cryptocurrency. Even Trump didn't really have anything great to say about cryptocurrency. And even though he's a Republican now, at one point he very much aligned with Democratic views. And not only that, he makes all his money with the banks and how he manipulates them. So last thing he wants is something that he can't manipulate, right? But you would hope that a judge would be able to put their political views aside, their personal views aside, and rule strictly on the law. And if this particular woman is able to do that, yeah, I think Ripple has a great shot at winning this case, right? But that's not in the bag. That's not necessarily true. Look at it this way, right? And I don't want to make this political, and I might even be wrong about some of this stuff, but the way I remember it, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, right? She was Democrat on the Supreme Court, right? Supreme Court. And Barack Obama nominated a replacement for her, another Democrat, right? The Republican Party held that up, would not vote on it. It was at the end of Barack Obama's term. They saw an opportunity for the first time in I don't know how long to make the Supreme Court majority Republican. And so if they could do that, they could bring up and maybe change a lot of things that they haven't been able to change over the years because it's been mostly Democrat, right? Sure enough, that's what happened, right? So Barack Obama's out of office. The guy he wanted to put in never got in. They ended up putting in a Republican. Boom. Now we've got a majority Republican. Almost the first thing they do, overturn Roe v. Wade, right? So you can't tell me that political affiliation and the woman that they put in there, she's got like 15 kids, Christian woman, clearly against abortion, right? I'm assuming. Sorry. Anyway, you can't tell me that your personal views don't, at the very least, affect how you interpret the law, right? You're going to interpret it because you're human. You're going to interpret it according to your preconceived notions and values. And if those align with a particular political party, then you're probably going to interpret it in that way. So this woman, this Torres, being a Democrat, and Democrats historically not being crypto friendly, nothing's in the bag here. Nothing at all, okay? She could interpret this in a way that does not necessarily work in our favor. So what could happen? Well, let's say that she is fair about it. Fair from my point of view, right? Let's say that she's fair about it and that she interprets it fairly, not down any party lines or anything like that. Let's say that she sides with Ripple and says, no, Ripple did not know, and there is no, they did not sell XRP thinking that it was a security because of, XYZ, all these reasons that they said, right? The lawsuit stops there, okay? Crypto goes crazy, everybody's happy about it, whatever, right? Then I started thinking to myself, okay, So basically, that still leaves it open. That still leaves it open to interpretation as far as what a security is, what a security is not, right? And so I started looking into it. And from what I see, the SEC does not make law. They don't make these rules. It's their job to enforce the rules that are there. So this is why it's good for crypto. If they lose this case and Ripple did not intentionally sell a security, even though we haven't decided whether actually XRP is a security or not, doesn't matter. Because the SEC cannot then come in and change the rules around and say, okay, well then we're going to stiffen up the definition of security and now it is a security. Now we know this. They can't do that. They can request to Congress, they can put in their, whatever, try to lobby Congress to get that done, but they can't do it themselves. And we know how long it takes Congress to freaking do anything, right? And we're coming up on an election year and so many different things that would not be decided anytime soon. So fingers crossed that Analisa Torres makes this judgment according to the information that's in front of her and not to her political party, any pressure from her political party, or anything like that, okay? And if this ends up going in Ripple's way, beautiful thing. Okay, final thing that I want to say. People have been wondering, why is this taking so long? Why is it taking so long? First we thought May, then April, then, June. When are we going to get this decision, right? Looking into it, this is very, very normal for this particular judge. She's had some other really big cases that submitted their final reviews or their final whatever paperwork or whatever, right? And all she had to do at this point was make a ruling, a determination. And she has taken 6, 7, 8 months to make a determination in the same circumstances, right? As far as it being a big case, I mean. Now, this case, the ramifications of this case are far wider from what I see than anything else she has ever judged, right? Any other ruling she's ever made. This is really going to reverberate through the world, right? Even though SEC only affects the United States, this is really going to make a huge, huge dent. It's going to determine how things are proceeded with Binance and, whoever else the SEC decides that they might want to try and sue, right? Because it has such broader ramifications than these other things that she has taken 6, 7, 8 months to decide. I gotta figure it's gonna take at least that, right? Now they submitted in December, they submitted their final packet or whatever, right? So now January, February, March, April, May, June, July, right? We're 7 months or close to 8 months, depending on what date it was that they submitted that in. We're at least pretty close to the longest she's ever taken to make a determination. But I would not be surprised because of the weight of this particular case. I would not be surprised that this takes another month, 2 months, whatever, right? If it took her a year to make this particular determination, it would suck. I would hate it, but I wouldn't be surprised seeing her track record, okay? So we could hear something tomorrow. We might not hear something till Christmas. There's no way to tell. So stop being anxious about it. Stop listening to all the people that say that the determination is right around the corner, blah, 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 blah. They're just trying to get clicks, right? We don't know. We don't know with this woman how long she's going to take. We hope that she votes our way, and we hope that it comes soon. It would be wonderful if it coincided with the Bitcoin halving. Woo! Would that set off one hell of a bull market. But all we can do is wait and find out. All right, that's what I've learned, and that's how I'm seeing things. Again, if you disagree, if I'm wrong about anything, and I'm open to the fact that I might be wrong about something, right? Leave comments in the comment section and let me know. If I've got it right, let me know that too. Hit the like button for me if you could on the way out. Chat with y'all about some more. Hey, how do you like my moon shirt? Going to the moon, baby. All right, y'all. Peace.